Zuppa Toscana is Olive Garden's most popular soup recipe that combines spicy Italian sausage, bacon, potatoes, and kale in one creamy, flavor-packed soup. This is one of those cozy and filling soup recipes that's perfect for a cold and rainy day, and it's actually raining here today, so perfect timing. But think of it as an elevated meat and potato soup that's definitely a full meal kind of soup, and I love that it can all be made in one pot. So let me show you how to make it. To get started, you'll dice up one yellow onion. Now, onion is always great in soups as it helps to add a little depth of flavor, and as you'll see here in a second when we cook the bacon, it also helps to release those delicious browned bits from the bottom of the pan. It's a humble ingredient, but quite important, and once you've got your onion all diced up, just add it to a bowl and set it aside. Next, you'll dice up 1.5 pounds of Yukon Gold or white potatoes. I prefer these two russets as they hold their shape better in soups, given that they're more waxy rather than dry and starchy. But honestly, if russets are all you have, you can swap those in as well. And when you're dicing up the potatoes, just think bite-sized pieces, about an inch or so in size. And once you're done with those, place them in a separate bowl as they'll get added to the soup at a different stage from the onions. For the pop of green that you see in this soup, you'll need about 4 cups of roughly chopped kale. I'm using Dino kale today, but any variety of kale works, and you could also swap in other leafy greens like spinach or chard. To remove the kale from the stem, just start at the bottom and run your hand down the stem. The leaf should come off quite easily. 4 cups of roughly chopped kale for me is about half a bunch, at least when I buy it at Whole Foods, or about 5 stems of kale. Although after measuring today, I wanted to add just a bit more, so I decided to add 1 more stem quickly here. You know me, the more greens, the better. And then one last item you'll need to prep is 6 slices of bacon, and just cut those slices into chunks about an inch or so wide. Heat a large pot over medium heat and add the bacon. Since I sliced up the bacon all together, I'll just separate it a bit with my fingers as I place it into the pot. Then cook the bacon for about 5 minutes until it's browned and crispy. Keep in mind that it is going into a soup, so it will naturally soften up, which is why I do recommend you cook it to a crispy texture rather than a medium texture, which is what I would do if I was just popping a few slices of bacon straight into my mouth. So once it's nice and crispy, remove the bacon to a paper towel-lined plate and leave about 1 to 2 tablespoons of grease in the pot. If you have more grease than that, which depends on the type and thickness of the bacon that you selected, you can just spoon out any excess. Add the onions to the pot, turn the heat to medium-high, and sauté them for 3 to 4 minutes until they're softened. Then add 5 cloves of garlic, and you can mince that straight into the pot. 5 cloves of garlic might sound like a bit more than I'd normally add, but don't worry, it's not overly garlicky, especially as the cream softens that flavor a bit. Add 1 pound of spicy ground Italian sausage and use your spatula to break it up as it cooks. This should take about 5 minutes or so, and it doesn't need to be overly browned, but do make sure that it's cooked through. And if you can't find the ground sausage sold by the pound, you can also buy raw sausage links and then just open the casings and add the ground meat to the pot that way. Add the potatoes to the pot along with 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning and 6 cups of chicken broth. I always default to low sodium chicken broth, and unless I've got a carton of broth already opened in my fridge, what I'll often do is add 4 cups of broth and 2 cups of water. That way I don't have to open a second carton of broth and only use half of it. Give that a stir, bring the soup to a boil, then reduce the heat to medium-low and let it simmer uncovered for 10 minutes until the potatoes are fork tender. Add the chopped kale and bacon to the soup, and if you'd like to sprinkle a little bit of bacon on top at the end for garnish, you can reserve some of it here. And lastly, add 1 cup of heavy cream. Give that all a stir, bring it back up to a simmer, and then let it simmer for another 5 minutes to let all of those flavors and ingredients meld together. Before serving, I like to add a little bit of cracked black pepper to the soup, and you can do that either on the big pot or on individual bowls. There are so many different layers of flavor and texture on this Zuppa Toscana that it is easy to see how this became a standout winner on Olive Garden's menu. And thanks to all of the downshifters who have been nudging me to make this recipe for a very long time. I have such a long list of recipe ideas that I want to make, as you might imagine, but when I hear requests over and over, those recipes usually jump to the top of my list. So do keep commenting on what you'd like to see in the future. But right now, I am ready to take a few bites of this. The rain just stopped for a little bit. Perfect timing so I can talk to you guys and take my bite. I want to get a little bit of the sausage and the potato. And the bacon, of course. This is so good. Ooh, just got a little kick of the spice from the sausage. So I will say, because I've made this so many times and I will often buy sausage from different locations, and that can really have an impact on the spicy level. So you could go with a hot spicy sausage, you could go with a mild, you could even go with a sweet if that's your preference. So if this feels a little bit too spicy for you, just know that you can always take it down a notch by buying a slightly different pork sausage blend. And as always, you can customize recipes to your liking. So if you're not a fan of the pork, you could always leave the bacon off and use a chicken sausage as well. Now, if you want to go all in on an Olive Garden themed dinner or evening at your house, you could also whip up my chicken marsala and shrimp scampi recipes. You will also find those on Olive Garden's menu, though I have my homemade versions, and kind of go all in on an Italian-American themed dinner or evening. And if you do happen to have any leftovers, there's about 5 servings in this entire recipe, but if you have leftovers, you could save them in the fridge for 4 to 5 days or in the freezer for up to 3 months, and then reheat it on a night when you don't feel like cooking, or if it's rainy and cloudy like it is today. I hope you guys enjoy this Olive Garden copycat recipe. I think this might be one of your new favorite soup recipes, and if you do enjoy it, make sure to give it a thumbs up here on YouTube and 5 stars on the recipe page over on my website. And with that, I will see you guys again in the next video.